working. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to 2A Women Wednesday. We have a terrific guest with us today, so we're going to roll the intro and introduce you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2A Women Wednesday, a pro-gun, pro-2A podcast where we interview the greatest ladies of 2A that are doing amazing things out in front where everybody can see and behind the scenes. So please hit the subscribe button, like button, share, and comment. And most importantly, go support these ladies on whatever platforms they may be on because they're doing amazing things.
All right, so we have Ms. Taniece Reed, owner of Pretty Shooters. Been checking out everything that she's got going on, mainly on Instagram. She's got a YouTube channel as well. But instead of me just, hogging up the spotlight and running my mouth, because you guys don't come here to see me, you come here to listen to these amazing ladies and what they're doing. So I'm going to let her have the floor and tell you about herself.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me, Gunsnbbq. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My name's Taniece Reed. I'm the owner and operator, lead instructor of Prettyshootersfirearms training. And here we do a multitude of things. So not only do we do Maryland licensing, DC licensing, we do multi-state licensing consisting of Utah, Florida, we do Arizona, we do a lot of Virginia, we do a lot of home defense, personal protection. Soon to do some things for Stop the Bleed, CPR. So I do a lot of different things. So thank you guys for having me.
That's terrific. So not only are you doing stuff with firearms training, but what to do after an instance where you have to have used your firearm in self-defense. Really sorry about that loud vehicle. It's awful around here with that if you heard that. But what you might encounter after using a firearm in self-defense and, having to stop that bleed or, give CPR or just in an emergency situation where you even have to draw your firearm. So how long have you been doing this? What got you into it?
I've been shooting for a long, long time. I say a long, long time because I was a teenager. So before I was able to actually obtain a license, which in my state in Maryland is 21. So I don't know. My dad, my uncles have always been registered. They always told me the importance of being safe, situational awareness. And I think I understood it. But the older I got, I started realizing like, hey, this is real. So I just kind of continued periodically or sporadically going to the range. And I was like, you know what? As I got older, I started to realize that things were happening. You go from this age where you're at school one day, you're in high school and everything's like all peaches and cream. And then the next day you see somebody your age on the news saying something happened to her or somebody tried to take her or rape her or anything. And I'm just like, yo, is this like adulthood? So it just kind of dawned on me, I was like, I want to be safer. So I started taking classes and I still had like a lot of questions. So the only way to get my questions answered was to kind of be in this seat to answer the question. So I started taking classes. Before you know it, I became an instructor. And I love it. This is something that I really enjoy doing. So I don't call it work. I just love doing it. And I love reaching and helping people.
So, I mean, that's wild. The way you said that, like, what was this adulthood? Like, what a wake-up call. Now, is this your primary job? This is all you do, right?
No.
No.
I have about 10 jobs. So I work full time for a medical entity. I've been in the medical field for 11 plus years. I have 2 kids. So I'm in school working on degree number 2. In addition to running this business, I'm a nonprofit owner. It's called Safety Situational Awareness for Educating the Youth. So we'll start doing events 2022. I'm a notary in 2 states, a certified signing agent. So I do that stuff. So I literally have a plate full, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm blessed because in everything that I do, I'm either able to help someone, educate someone, or kind of give people the tools they need to be great. So I'm just super thankful that, I have so much going on. I'm tired though.
I bet. Holy cow. I mean, that was just a list that you read off. Holy cow, that's incredible. What's your first degree in?
So it's in health sciences. This one's going to be health services management. And everybody's like, you don't have to do that. Just do Pretty Shooters full time. And I try to stress to people, times are changing. Things are changing. It's okay to have a plan B, C, D, E, and F. And I think that we are seeing serial business owners, and we just have to kind of do what makes sense. Being in healthcare and doing firearms and stop the bleed in CPR, it's still similar. It's very similar, and it's gonna kind of connect. So I tell people I love the healthcare field. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I learned so much, and again, I still get to help people, so it's nice.
So you kind of led me into my next question there, because you were saying how healthcare and firearms training are similar there. So how exactly do you see them tying in together?
Well, right now, I know most times people already know you can't take your firearms into the hospital and things like that. You know, it's prohibited. It's prohibited in places where they do mental health services and they possibly have prescription drugs. But that doesn't stop you from using your situational awareness in case an active shooter got there. So we're starting to see that where you at one time could let your guard down and feel safe in certain areas like churches and hospitals, it's not, off limits anymore. So I think that we're starting to see, for one, in places like that, you can keep your situational awareness up and still do your normal doctor's appointments and things. And then number two, more people who are in the healthcare field after Corona, after seeing just a multitude of things, they're like seeing that people are losing their jobs and going crazy. Imagine if you couldn't get your health care. So we're starting to see more frantic patients. We're starting to see more manic patients. And I think eventually it'll come to a head with more hospitals around the country having security or different measures. So I just want everybody to be kind of aware of that, I think that's how it'll tie.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned security at the hospitals. I know the hospital in my hometown, it's not a trauma center or anything. It's actually better than most that you would find in a small town, but nonetheless. So the security they have there, not armed. Likewise, even traveling up to Erie, because I'm about 30 minutes south of Erie. So actually, we're not that far apart now that I think about it. But traveling up to Erie, we got several big hospitals up there, and to my knowledge, none of the security up there is armed. And I actually have a family member that's working security at the one, and I think they have one armed guard, and that's the supervisor. But so with that being said, you brought up the situation of an active shooter. Now, I always like to add the caveats. What's the likelihood? While we talk about likelihood or anything like that, we can probably agree very unlikely. But I would like to be prepared if that situation happens. So knowing that these situations could be on the rise, that they could be more likely, unfortunately, to happen, do you see any way to persuade our elected officials to perhaps lift restrictions such as, not being able to carry at a hospital?
I think that they've been in place for so long that it's going to be super, super hard. I do think that they're not well educated. I think that people who are not well educated cannot make informed decisions. I think most of them, when they say, hey, we don't want to, open this law up or change this, it's because they're actually not 2A friendly, and that's okay. I just think that we always have to stop and take a second to say, well, let me learn something on the other side. I think if they knew more about gun safety, I think they would feel a little bit better about why we're so comfortable in this realm. Same thing like with the actor, when he accidentally discharged the weapon. It's okay to say, hey, I don't like guns, but just because you're in a movie and they're supposed to be toy or prop guns or whatever, you should still have a basic knowledge of firearm safety and what to do in any situation. So I think now, not so much as saying lift all restrictions, but can we just have like safety across the board? Can in all school districts teachers be CPR certified? Not every state mandates teachers to be CPR certified, just like not everybody has armed security guards at their hospital. I think we need more continuity across the board to say, hey, if something does happen, we can keep you all safe. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I will say I'm not for mandating things for everybody, but I am definitely for incentives. So, if a teacher said, "Hey, if you're gonna give me, tax deduction and I'll go get my CPR certification. Cool. I'm cool with that teacher getting a small tax break to go get CPR certification. It's actually one of the things that I've mentioned in the past. People bring up arming teachers, and they're like, how would you do that? How would you pay for it? Make the whole thing tax deductible. If the teacher wants to do it, it's on them. They have to go through certain trainings, because I would say at that point they're doing it for work. They're not doing it for personal. They're doing it for work. And with that, it comes with certain trainings, things like that, just like the minimum for an armed security officer would here in Pennsylvania. I'm sure you run into the same thing down in Maryland and D.C. area, things like that. So make them go through something similar, and then because it's being done for work, it's something that they can write off, and they can write off firearms, they can write off ammo, training, the whole 9 yards. And then the only thing it's costing is, the expense of that write-off. It's not costing the school district anything or anybody else. So that made me think of something. What about doctors and nurses? What about the trained medical staff? These are people that we're saying that we trust with our lives when we go into these institutions. Mm-hmm. Why could we say, hey, let's make a compromise for now and allow these people that we're saying, I trust you with my life. I told you before the show, I'm clinically blind, and that's because I ended up having to have 3 brain surgeries, and before they got everything fixed, that's what happened. So I had a doctor tickling my brain, and you're not going to let him carry a gun where he works? I mean, that seems a little preposterous to me. Do you think that would even have any credence? Would there be enough doctors and or nurses that would be interested in doing something like that?
So I think it would be. I'm a little leery about teachers, doctors, nurses carrying, not that I don't want them to have the right, but I know for a fact that people who do long hours like that, especially doctors, surgeons, nurses, are they really going to dedicate the time to go further than that class? So remember, a lot of times people will take training and say, what do you need me to do? And we'll say, do 2 classes. They'll do the 2 classes and they won't do anything else. And I think that the government and everybody else knows that if we propose this, we're going to have to give them the full package. And I honestly don't think they would even know where to start. Full package, like you said, it would have to be tax breaks. It would have to be a write-off. It would have to be training open for them. It would have to be dedication to show them, if you're going to get this, we're going to back you. And I don't think that they're ready to look at that and actually point the finger at themselves and make it feasible for them to get it done. Nurses work 12-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts. So the reality of it is, if they're already having physician burnout, nurse burnout, they're home and they're passing out because they're dead tired. Having a firearm in that type of condition constantly 365 is probably not going to work unless you really dedicate time off for them to get this training done. So I think that as time progresses, as things change, marijuana laws, as things change, everything has to be readjusted and it has to be looked at. And I think that they have to be fair. And they have to look at the statistics state by state and say, what can we do? What can we offer? How can we meet in the middle? And I think right now it's never been a conversation of meet in the middle. It's been, this is what we've always done. This is what we're going to continue to do, either comply or deny. So I'm hoping that, they work out some other things. I'm hoping that they figure out, what to do. Because right now they're like telling people, it's either you get the vaccine or you're out of a job. And imagine the statistics behind how irate that would make some people. We've never been faced with something in my lifetime. I'm only in my early 30s, but I've never seen anything like this before. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if people started lashing out at these medical institutions or different places that we've never seen, because it's something new. You're mandating something that happened less than 2 years ago. And we're still kind of in it now. We're still wearing masks. We're still seeing people get sick. So it's like, what are we really going to do going forward? So I'm just hoping that they keep making strides. They keep everybody informed, and they actually let 2A people help them make some of these decisions, and they get kind of the information they need to make the informed decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say I am really enjoying this conversation because oftentimes when we do talk about things like this in the different chats that I attend or host, things like that, it's never really been about the medical institution. Now, there has been a few chats about paramedics being armed and having that right, and some of the things that they run into. I've heard New York City paramedics talking about, they've gotten calls where it was a fake call. They were just called there for somebody in distress that wasn't nobody in distress, and they were getting robbed because they had narcotics on them.
Wow.
Yeah, and these paramedics are saying we want the right, we want the ability to protect ourselves in these situations, and it's a hot button issue. But like I said, I've never got, at least in my experience, I've never gotten to have the conversation of what about the medical institutions, the hospitals, and the men and women that treat us. So this is really intriguing to me because I wasn't even planning on going down this road at all.
But, see what happens when you get on yourself.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just another one of those things that I mean, for weeks after this, I'm going to be just spinning the wheels in my head on this. So, but I don't want to spend too much time on just this. Tell us more about your nonprofit that you have.
Awesome. So my nonprofit, I kept trying to figure out a way to give kids situational awareness and not make it so much about firearms, but more about a well-rounded experience. I think when we hear situational awareness, we don't realize that kids still walk home from school. As crazy as the world is, kids still walk home from school, kids still play outside, kids do kid things. We were once kids. When you're playing outside, you're not thinking about, if it's a car there, just let me look just to see what's going on. Just let me pay attention to my surroundings. Let me listen around to see if I hear anybody yelling or if something's wrong. So I think now we're starting to see that the more we see stuff on the news, it makes parents uneasy, and we're starting to see that no place is really off limits. I know every week I'm hearing about a different star house getting broken into, or it just, it's like, don't you live in a gated community and somehow these people are coming to your door? And it's scary. So I wanted to do something where the kids could be involved. The kids could possibly not have to touch PTSD from seeing something on the news or in their neighborhood, and they could really get like on the spot situational awareness training and have people back them up long term just for other things that may arise in a bad situation. So the acronym is SAFETY, and it stands for Situational Awareness for Educating the Youth. I'm hoping that when parents come get trained, the parents will educate the kids. I'm hoping that the parents will practice gun safety with the kids in the house. I'm hoping that they'll use gun locks and find other means of being safe while still having their firearm hot and ready. I'm just hoping that this is an educational process for the parents to say, not only did you come, but now you need to train your child to have a hiding spot. If someone runs in your house, your child should have a hiding spot so you can kind of feel mentally secure in saying, I know they're in their spot. As the parent, I can go defend my household and not think that they're going to walk up behind me like, Mom, what's going on? So it's so many different layers. I'm happy to kind of touch on the kids, and I have 2 kids. So everything that I teach my kids, will just be an extension to teach other people's kids. And my kids really enjoyed the training. We do constant training, on the spot training. We still develop stuff. So I think it's nice that I'm starting it in my household, so I know it works.
Absolutely. That's one thing I bring up a lot, is educating children. A lot of accidents could be prevented just with simple education. I think that is a disservice that we've done to our youth, is taking firearms out of schools. I'm not saying that we need to have live firearms in schools, but we definitely need firearm education. Because again, it's just, I'm keeping my personal beliefs on the live firearms in schools, yay or nay, to myself, because that gets into a hot topic issue in itself. But firearms education, no matter what, needs to be one that is had. So whether
the conversation has to be had, and I agree with you. And I think that until we bring the conversation to them, to the school, to the parents, to the school district, to the different counties, it's never going to go anywhere, whether it's a yay or nay. But the fact that we keep like putting it under the rug, it won't even be a safety measure. So I think at some point, what I'm saying and what you're saying, it's going to have to meet in the middle. And that would be awesome. I would love to see that. So hopefully my nonprofit can help move that along.
Yeah. And like up in my area, some of the high schools actually have trap shooting teams. So for us, it's not something out of the normal to have firearms around school events, at least. But I would like to see children at a very young age getting taught, firearms education. People that view my channel regularly probably know what I'm going to say next. I start firearms education with my children when I start potty training them. If they're old enough to go, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, you're old enough to start recognizing that, okay, this is a dangerous weapon that can do terrible things. It's also very fun, and we can go out and we can be very responsible with it and have a great time. But we're going to have some ground rules here. And, everything ends up great, but it's always the ones that didn't have the education. I shouldn't say that. It's not always. I mean, even the ones that have education, accidents happen. But
well, I tell people two most major causes of firearm accidents are ignorance and carelessness. It doesn't matter your color. It doesn't matter your age. It's either you're going to say, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to use my resources, and I'm going to know all of my safety rules. If you move slow and take your time, especially with the kids, they'll get it. They can play Fortnite and decode something better than most adults. They can get firearm education. And it's very important. I think it's about how you condition your kids. Do you want the world or the news to condition them, or would you rather condition them to tell them what's good and what's bad? So I think you're spot on with that. And it's never too young to, once they start talking, they're sponges.
Yes, 100%. So how old are your little ones, if you don't mind my asking?
I have 2 boys. They're 11 and 7.
Okay, let's say actually that's right around my 2 oldest. I've got 2 daughters, 10 and 8, and a son who's 3. So, definitely know that age range you're dealing with. You said that they enjoy the training and stuff like that. So, do they have any favorite firearms or anything that they get to take out with you?
Well, right now I have the 7-year-old. We're working on the 43X, so he seems to like that one. I've also let him try my Canic because it's a subcompact. The oldest, I try to keep him on the same one so that way we can all have the conversation. He's tried a full size. I can't remember which one, but for right now I have them on pistol training. I'm trying to get them familiar with the parts. I'm a Glock armorer, so oftentimes if I'm taking something apart, they actually get a little bit more knowledge of what something looks like, what something is, most parts that people don't even know how to take out on their firearm. So that's pretty nice. So they watched me build my first rifle, so they got some of that education like on the fly. So I'm just taking it slow with them. They got all of the house stuff down, so we're working on actual aiming, both eyes open right now, and we're working on doing multiple shots. So we haven't gotten to like grouping or anything yet, but when we go shoot, they're able to acquire the target, I would say, right outside of a fist space. But for the most part, they're doing awesome, and I'm super, super happy with their progress. But they love it. The little one is like, oh my God, okay, I want to go back in. And I'm like, okay, we just came out. We're going to go back in and finish shooting. And he's like, okay, I'm done. And he's like, okay, I think I want to go back in. So he's like a little soldier. He wants to keep going at it. So he loves it.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome. Yeah. I'm going to fill you in on a little secret. It's not a secret on my channel, but you don't know it yet. I'm not a Glock guy. And that's nothing against you, obviously. But the reason I bring it up is it kills me because I had my 7-year-old daughter at the gun shop a month or 2 ago, and I like to try and get the kids a firearm for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And we're just kind of browsing and whatnot, and she wants to check out a Walther because it's got a teal grip frame. And I'm like, all right, cool. She's shopping by colors, whatever. She's a girl. More power to her. And then the shop owner, who is also a sponsor for my channel now, he says, John, if she likes that, you should show her this. And as soon as he puts it in my hand, I was like, it's a Glock, son of a... And, it's not even so much Glock. I'm just... I like metal. I'm not a big Ballmer guy. And so hand it to her, and she's like, "Oh, Dad, I really like this," and I was like, "I thought I raised you better." But
I would say this. I think that if you are more comfortable with something else, I always tell people that's going to be your jam. I'm a polymer person because I have nails, so most females do, so they don't call me a pretty shooter for nothing. I'm a girly girl, but I'm a tom girl. So I think for me, with the ripping and running, especially some of the attire I wear, even with the tactical belt, I think the polymer just feels better, even on the grip. So, but Glock is the Toyota. If we can just say that. Glock is like the Toyota of
100%.
firearms. And if you know Toyota, they're going to run you 400,000. So when people often ask me, I give them a lot of good brands, but when they see the price point on Glock, they see that everybody has them in the stores. It just kind of is a selling point. But I mean, the Walther is seriously nice. I'm actually looking to get one. I don't own one. But my buddy does. And I mean, it shoots super smooth. I think he has the PPQ or something like that. And his was amazing. So I'm literally, that is going to be my next purchase, if not an H&K. So between one of those is going to be my next purchase, only because I don't own one of those. So I'm excited about it.
Very nice. Yeah. She was looking at the Walther CCP, and I just like the ergonomics on the Walthers, but I'm also going to fill you in on something here. After she handed the Glock 43 back to me, I put it in my hand, and I was like, oh no, this feels really nice. I was like, oh man. So I was like, they got me. I haven't got it for her yet. Hopefully getting back to the LGS tomorrow and probably landed away for her, but I was like, crap. The Glock finally might have got me. So
because I own both of those, the 43 and the 43X. And I mean, I think they're great. I think price point wise, where could you really go wrong? It's a quick, I'm going to grab and pull, old school iron sights on it. I mean, it's optic ready. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And that was another thing you brought up, though, the fact that you're a Glock armor, over on your Instagram, I mean, you have a whole list of things that you are certified with. I mean, it's incredible. So anybody that's watching, I'm going to have links down in the description for your IG, for your YouTube, and anything else that you give me links to will be all down in the description. And more than likely, I'll have something pinned up in the top of the comments when this premieres. With at least your IG link and your YouTube link, so people can go and hit that like button and follow you and whatnot, and subscribe and all that real quick. But definitely when you go to your IG, just read that little brief
description.
I was going to say, do we dare call it a resume? It's amazing, all the stuff listed there, though. So, here I was. There's something else I wanted to ask you there. Are you teaching your kids any gunsmithing, being a Glock armor, or is it just something that you're doing and every once in a while they get to peek in?
So right now I like to work on one thing and have them get it. So right now I think the little one has done like some peeking in. He's asked questions, but not enough for me to say that he's retained the information. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I've seen other people say they were a Glock armorer. Literally the only reason, well, I would say two reasons. The only two reasons that I became a Glock armorer is, for one day I jammed one of my Glocks and I was like, I don't feel like taking this somewhere. I wanted to be able to fix it myself. And I know what I did wrong, but it was just the fact that I'm like, I couldn't get it. So it was like really, really nerve-wracking. And then number two, I'm starting to see more and more people in my area, at least, buy Glocks. So I'm like, you know what? I wanted to kind of create that full service for women. So that way they can say, my instructor can help me. They've already built a comfort level with me. So if they have questions, they can come. And it just kind of helped me feel a little bit more comfortable, at least around Glocks. I don't mind taking stuff apart and exploring, but it was just nice to kind of hear some of their education and some of their history. And I tell people it's okay to keep getting stuff. If you're an instructor who doesn't keep going to other people's classes or training or trying to learn more, then your knowledge is going to stop right where it is. So I kind of like just getting everything that I can get, telling other people what I know, and just being a little bit more well-rounded in this field, because it's so many of us. it's like the YouTubers, then you have the gun enthusiasts, then you have the long range shooters, then you have the, convention people. I mean, so it's a lot of different groups of us, and it's just pretty awesome just to see how far kind of Glock has come. And it was actually pretty a cool class. So I'll give them that. It was a very, very nice class.
Yeah. So how exactly do you become a Glock armor? Because I'm sure we have people out there wondering right now, and I'm sure you'd be a great person to tell them.
Yes, so it's a few different reasons. One, I think you can be military, police. I think that kind of qualifies you to get in on it. Most police people, they do have Glocks or they have shields, M&P, so that's kind of nice that they know how to do that. You have to be a GSSF member, which is the Glock Shooting Sports Foundation. So I'm a part of them as well. They do dope competitions all over the country. They do a lot of dope meetups. It's a lot of different individualized groups. So that's another way. And then I think it's one more thing on that website that I can't remember, but I do know, like I said, police, military, you could be a GSSF member. So those are the ways that I do know that you can kind of become a Glock armorer. So that's nice that they offer that.
Heck yeah. Now, you may not know this answer, and if not, no big deal. Do they consider corrections officers law enforcement? Last I heard that they were, at least as far as some of their sales on firearms were going. The only reason I know that's back when I worked corrections, and a couple of the guys that I worked with were like, hey, Glocks, extending their law enforcement sales to corrections officers now. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I never wanted to.
Yeah, they're blue cells.
But so for the armorer's course, do they include corrections officers, or is it just...
That is a good question. I am not sure, but I think as much crap as they deal with, they should, if that counts for anything. But I'm not sure. But I would direct everybody to go to Glock, and then you would go to their training courses, and you would see the different options for courses. You can click there, and they have an email that they're really, really good about getting back to you. So I would kind of direct that question there, and hopefully other people will do it.
So you just showed off your nails because, pretty shooter.
Yes.
Now, I've had previous conversations with ladies that say they can't have nails, things like that. They really dull it down because carrying, they changed up their wardrobe, they changed up their lifestyle, things like that. Obviously, again, you just showed us the nails. Is that something that you had to adjust for, or were you just like, you know what, I'm just going to make this work? And how did carrying a firearm change the way you dressed it, or did it at all? Did it make you consider other things over others?
Yeah, it's definitely, the nails are definitely an adjustment. I don't like my nails super, super long. This is probably the longest that I will do, and these are my real nails. So every time I get my nails done, I do have to do some dry firing. I have to get back comfortable. And I tell women all the time, just because I got my nails done last week, it may not feel the same this go around. So I always tell women, try to stick to a reasonable length and still keep in mind that you have to grab, and you're going to have other things like nails that are in the way. But it took practice. It was something that I've been getting my nails done since I was 16. So I got adjusted over time, but it wasn't overnight. Most people think that it was something that was overnight, and it wasn't. And because I've been shooting for so many years, I think that it was okay that I progressed into feeling more comfortable, but it does not happen overnight. As far as the wardrobe, I did change my wardrobe a little bit. I wanted my wardrobe to be less inviting to other people that I didn't want the attention from. So I think as we get older, we start seeing that even though, we can make up our own mind and everything, I just knew that if I'm going certain places, I want to kind of dress in a certain manner. So I made sure that I had enough hoodies, loose fitting clothing, but I did also try other methods of carrying. So I may switch between 4, but I mainly stick with IWB, which for the people out there, that's in waistband holster. I kind of do the appendix carry. That's more comfortable for me, but I do have the shorts or tights. I do have a belly band, and if I need to, I will do out of the waistband holster. All the other ones aren't really for me. I've tried them. So again, it was trial and error, and it does kind of go by what I have on. But I like to be practical. I like to be functional. I like to make sure I have a good range of motion. I tell people you could be tying your shoe and something can happen, and you're going to have to do that draw, and you may have to, acquire your firearm, acquire your target before you actually stand back up. So you have to kind of account for all of these things. So I try to be comfortable, cute and comfortable.
Definitely. So going back to your kids real quick, when you were pregnant, were you carrying? And if so, how did that affect you?
Oh, that is a good question. You're only like the second person ever to answer that question. So to answer your question, yes, I was carrying. I got super, super big with both of my kids. I gained 72 pounds with the first one and 55 with the second one. So it was about 3 or 4 months. I had to kind of either go to the shorts carry, which was not so bad for a few months. And then I had to kind of go purse carry. Out of the waistband, it still was kind of hurting because my stomach was so large and it was kind of toppling over the top of my pants. But again, purse carry is not something that just because I'm fluent in a firearm was like, oh, I'm just going to put it in my purse and I'm gone out the door. I had to find the right purse. I had to find the right comfort level to say I'm comfortable enough that I can pull this out, still have some seconds to acquire my target, shoot the suspect, and not be dead on arrival by the time I try to get it out my bag. I tell women you have to practice these things at home. I went through about 2 or 3 purses before I actually found one that had everything I needed. I was able to acquire my firearm quickly. It had the arm straps if I wanted to put it here, or it had the hand strap. So we always have to look at the options that are best for us, especially, the people around you. I have 2 kids. So at the time, pregnant with my first one, I was doing the purse carry. Pregnant with my second one, now I got kid stuff in my bag and I got a baby in my belly. So I had to make sure that the purse kind of held everything that I needed, me being the worker, the mom, and soon to be mom again. So women, it is possible to carry while pregnant. It does take a little work to see which way you need to carry. But again, everyone's different. Practice makes perfect, and you can do it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's funny that you mentioned that. I didn't even think about, oh, yeah, being a mom and having the second kid on the way and having to deal with, you're chasing around a child while having a bunch of toys in your bag and then having to, that's something I've never thought about. And I still say that there is a greatly untapped market, and I think that is maternity carry pants.
Yeah, no, I think anybody that just heard Gunsnbbq say that, hurry up and get your idea out there. We will patronize you. I'm not having any more kids, but I'll buy for someone else.
There you go.
But as you just mentioned, that's the continuity of making sure that no matter where you are in your life, you're able to carry and it's comfortable for you. I think that's the biggest thing. You can be pregnant and carry, and women should feel safe as well while they're pregnant. So I thought I really, really like that idea. That's awesome.
Yeah. So as a trainer, what would you say your most memorable moment has been?
My most memorable moment, I think, was the first time I created a goal for myself and I reached that goal. A lot of times we kind of forget that sometimes the small goals, they feel the best because you never thought that you would get there. Once I got to, I want to say about 500 people trained, I think I was crying. I want to say I think I was crying because I couldn't believe it. I knew I was exhausted, all the blood, sweat, and tears. So I like to set realistic goals, small goals, so that way when I crush them, I can feel, for one, super good, and then for two, it doesn't take me long to get to that next feel good moment because my goals are realistic. So I would say once I got to my training goal, I thought that was all I was going to train forever. Once I hit that goal, I'm like, oh wow, now I can move up. So I'm just super, super thankful for everybody that patronizes Pretty Shooters, men and women, young and old. And it's just been super, super fun so far.
So you just said you hit a milestone of 500 people trained. How many people have you trained so far then?
Oh Lord, I have not counted. I want to say all of 2020, all of 2021, but I want to say I'm more than 500 because that was last year. So right now, I want to say maybe this year I added another 200 people at least. And again, I have to tell people that it's just me. So for just me, that is completely awesome, exceed expectations. And that includes group training, private training. That includes me doing co-classes with anyone and me doing any of the classes that I offer. So it's awesome. And I work full time. So literally that goal has been one of the biggest strides to kind of keep me going and tell me to keep pushing. So super, super excited I need to count actually and see what my numbers were for 2021 for the years out.
Yeah, I mean, heck, for all you know, you might already be at the 750 mark. I mean, there's another milestone.
Well, at that point, I'm going to need a disability check because, baby, I'm tired. I don't know how I'm making it work, but it's working and, God is good. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, and say you sound just insanely busy. Just, again, that resume that you have listed on your Instagram and what you rattled off at the beginning of the show, like, holy cow. I mean, my goodness, the amount of cookie jars that you have your hand in is incredible. So when it comes to the training, again, what do you see as far as your patrons go? Is it majority female, majority male? Also, what would you say the oldest trainee that you've had has been, and what's the youngest?
The youngest has been about 7. The oldest about 70 or 75. I try not to ask a lady her age. Predominantly women. This actually started out as a women-only business. When Corona hit, I opened it up to males outside of private lessons because I realized that, people were saying, well, I want my husband to be here. And I was like, oh, that is a good experience. Who am I to take that experience away from you that you wanted to do something with your husband or your significant other? And I didn't realize how many women really need them there to complete the task. So I get some men, not a lot, but when men come to my class, they love it. They're like, can you change the name so that way I don't have to feel bad about wearing your shirt other than in the house. So it's super funny to see how they react. And they come and they think it's going to be all dainty. And they leave sweating and they like, okay, Miss Reed. So it's really, really cool just to have them come out and see like the tone of the class and to them to engage. So.
And say, I just want to go back on that whole macho thing you just mentioned there. Oh, can you change the name? And say, I don't care what the training is. If I went, completed it, was successful, if it says Pretty Shooters, guess what? I'm rocking that. Like, yep, I did this. And anybody that wants to judge it, be like, go do it. Then we'll talk.
And I think they secretly rock it anyway because they're calling me for more merch.
Exactly. See, they just want a reason to whine. That's all. And say, we always talk about mansplaining on here, which actually I think I've done a pretty good job of avoiding today, because every once in a while, for example, in the firearms community, at least the circles that I've gotten to be around, we often hear guys say that, oh, just get your lady a revolver. That's a great first gun for her. And, just the mansplaining that goes on there. But, having mentioned that and going down that little bit of a rabbit hole, any recommendations that you would typically give somebody that came into your class saying, hey, I don't know what to get as my first gun. I'm going to be taking this class with you next week or something. Can you help me out?
Yeah, so I tell everyone that everyone's different. I don't recommend specific guns. I give them the tools to pick it on their own. I tell them firearms are like cars. Go hold it in your hand. Go choose 5, hold them in your hand. 3 of them may be heavier than you can even really withstand in the gun shop. Don't force yourself to like something that is already outside of your comfort zone. Once you have gone through the sizing, then you can look at other things like, well, what am I using this for? Is it going to be for home use or concealed use? Okay. I know older men who carry a FN. Me personally, I don't want all that weight. I'll carry something sleeker and I feel like I'll have a better chance of hitting my target sooner. So saying that to say it has to go by your comfort level. Then you can go through price. You can go through how accessible is the caliber, how bad is the maintenance on it, are the aftermarket parts, if that's something you're into, readily accessible. So I think it's different things that people have to kind of go through to say, hey, is this for me? I tell people all the time, if I'm comfortable with a Glock 43X, or if I'm comfortable with the Canic and you're comfortable with something else, use what you're comfortable with, because you're 10 times more likely to win in a gunfight. When people say, well, what's your favorite gun? The one that's going to save my life. So you better damn well make sure that that's something that you're comfortable with, and caliber wise, I tell people, my favorite caliber of pistol is 9mm. That doesn't mean that I don't have others. That just means that I lean to one side more than the other. And I know some people who are 380 people. You have to decipher your needs and your wants and your budget and go from there. So that's how I direct them. Then once they have all of that in order, and they say, well, I like 9mm, I like subcompact, then I can say, all right, boom, I got 4 options, try these 4. So I may do that, but I don't do it right off the bat, no.
Yep. So with your trainings, do you provide firearms at all, or people coming in required to have their own firearm with them?
90% of my classes, I provide the firearm for you. I do 1 or 2 courses where people will bring their own firearms, which will be like one-on-one personal trainings, and then Basic Pistol 2. Basic Pistol 2 is really for people who've done that basic course, who've gone through that sight alignment, they've gone through that basic fundamentals, grip, stance, they've gone through breathe control, trigger control, all of those things, and we're trying to get them comfortable with the firearm that they've purchased. So Basic Pistol 2 is one of those ones where we say, hey, this is how you clean it. This is how now you have to store it. And it helps them bring their firearm and get that visual picture. So that way the training just kind of becomes even more real for them, because they know, hey, I worked with this and I get to take it home. So I do offer those 2 where people have to bring their own pistols, or one-on-one can bring their own. All the other ones I provide for them.
Awesome. What pistols do you provide, if you don't mind my asking? Just, anybody that's listening that might hear this and be interested in going, they might be interested in knowing what they might be shooting there.
Yep. So you may have an option of an M&P Shield. You may have the M&P 2.0. You may have a Canic TP9 SC Elite. You may have a CZ or 2. I sway more towards the full size, which is the CZ P10C. You will have a Glock 43 or a 43X, a Glock 19, or possibly a 17. You may have a few other options depending on class size and age group, but for the most part, I stick around those. Majority 9mm. So it really just depends. I think that I try to go with what's easiest to explain. When it comes to talking about slide lock and stuff, Glock has it down pat. It's so easy to see the serration on it where you're trying to lock the slide in place. So I go with functionality as well as what's probably going to be the easiest. So in another month, I hope to add the M&P Easy for the ones who have a little trouble doing the slide lock and things like that. So, yep, that's pretty much the ones I stick with.
That's awesome. So, man, that's quite the selection too. I mean, there's some nice handguns that you're providing there.
Yeah.
My goodness, that's terrific. I mean, if it wasn't so hard for me to get rides places, I'd be like, hey, you want to go down to DC area?
Yeah, come on down. Come on down. DC's nice when you're just like sightseeing and going out and hanging out.
Yeah, before I lost my vision, I drove trucks. I've been down there plenty of times, and it is a nice area, but traffic-wise, not for me.
It's not for me.
At least during rush hour. Rush hour is awful.
Yeah, traffic sucks up here. Sorry about that.
There'd be times, it'd be real early in the morning, I'd be going around the 495 loop, and I could literally watch in my mirror the whole time, be like, all right, the headlights are just staying back there. I'm just ahead of the rush hour, and I would just beat it. And then there'd be times where I'd be looking at my clock, and I'm like, I'm going to catch a smack dab, son of a gun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, not to go off in the weeds or anything, sorry. Are you partnered with any gun shops or anything like that? One thing I didn't notice on your extensive resume on Instagram that you haven't really mentioned is having an FFL.
Haha, look at you. So I actually am, I'm not going to say in the process, but I'm in the process of doing that. one of the things, having kids, I have to be very, very selective. And I know sometimes you can be a certain number of FFL and have it linked to your home. I'm very, very selective about just having too much of my information out there. So in the process of acquiring, a solid brick and mortar business address, so that way the trainings can happen and it can just be linked there. And I'm actually taking Jay the Shooter's FFL course. He basically breaks down how you can obtain your FFL. So he's been really pivotal in helping me do that, which is kind of nice. So yes, 2022, that is on the goal list, FFL. Not quite sure where I'm going to start out with the FFL, but I would like to eventually make some ammo.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm. So getting into some reloading as well then.
Yeah, I think that if I'm a pretty shooter, I might as well just go pretty all the damn way. I might as well just give. I want the women to feel empowered, but I also want the women to know we gonna shoot what we need to shoot. We ain't getting no revolvers and all that. We gonna get some semi-automatics with some nice defensive ammo, and I may throw a little glitter in a tip for you. Other than that, we gonna keep it real cute. So I'm gonna see what I can work out. That has always been a joke with me and some of my students. I'm like, I'm gonna make some pretty ammo and get y'all some colored tips. So we're gonna see what I can do.
I was just thinking that gives a whole new term to the, or whole new meaning to the term glitter bomb.
No, for real, seriously. So I try to look out for my women, and sometimes we make these jokes, and I'm like, I wonder if I can really do that. But either way it goes, I will be an FFL, and I will do probably small local stuff. I may only extend my resources out to people who've taken my class. Wearing so many hats sometimes can be overwhelming, so I don't like to overload myself, but I definitely would like to have that hopefully by mid-2022.
Absolutely, that's terrific. Mm-hmm. And all I could think there, too, was, Your Honor, I can prove that was not my round that struck the defendant. How can you?
Because mine's got glitter in it.
Was there glitter in the wound track? No, there's nothing that says there's glitter in the wound track. Well, that's how you know.
Listen, and they gonna know it coming from a mile away, and they gonna be like, she got them pink tips. We not doing that. So it would be nice if I can kind of set myself apart and just give the women something else to add to their pretty repertoire.
No, that'd be freaking awesome. I really do hope that comes to fruition. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
So we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. So I'm just going to ask you those couple general questions. Mm-hmm. So what was the first firearm that you bought for yourself?
Ever? Oh, wow. That I bought for myself? Oh, Lord. I don't know. I got to think about that. I feel like it was a Glock. It's been so long ago. Maybe a Glock. I want to say a Glock. Yes. Because I learned how to shoot on a 45 Ruger. That was way back when. So I feel like it was a Glock. I feel like it was a 22, something like that.
Okay.
Okay. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Now, you mentioned doing a rifle build. What was your first rifle build?
Oh, so it was a Palmetto State Army. I got everything upper and strip lower. I put all that together. It was a 10.5 takes 5.56 or 223s, and it was nice. I had the red dot on the top. So yeah, and actually, I'm excited for you guys to see what I'm doing to it right now. So inquiring minds will see as soon as it's finished. I have someone doing something really, really special to it.
That's awesome.
It's going to be badass, too.
That's terrific. Surely you're going to be posting it on Instagram, correct?
Hopefully I'm going to have a costume to post with it because I want to do the dramatic effect.
Now let's say you just gone piqued everybody's interest. So,
yes, it's going to be dope. Shout out Savage Customs. I'm not going to say too much, but shout out Savage Customs.
All right. Man, what? I feel like I've heard of them before, so...
Oh, they're awesome, sweet people, very, very accessible. You call them, they're able to talk to you and get questions answered. So they're down in Florida.
Yeah, I know I've heard them. I just don't know why. But yeah, so good for them. You've really piqued my interest with that. Cannot wait to see what you have going on there. Do you have any firearms activists or advocates that you look up to?
Oh, Lord. No, I look up to everybody. I think that most people have this thing where it's like, everyone's competing and everyone wants to be the best. I literally can take something from everyone that I've ever spoken to, even if it was something negative, and I was like, I don't really like that they said that. I think that I'm one of those people that I just enjoy the realm. I enjoy the 2A thing. I enjoy people who don't like 2A, who they just like guns. I think that this is probably some of the dopest people that I've met, and I honestly just think that it's so many different variations of us that I look up to so many. So I just think that women, especially, so let me say more women have piqued my interest, just because I'm like, wow, like, she's a competition shooter, she's good. So it's so many people that I watch and I look up to, and I can't pinpoint one, but everybody's just been, especially since 2020, 2021, everybody's really just been showing out, and I'm just super here for it.
Awesome. So a little while ago, you told us that some of the next guns on your to get list would be a Walther, I believe, HK.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would be a dream gun if price was no object? You could just, one gun that you could have free and clear. What would it be?
It is going to be, hold on, I always have to pull it up because I don't want to say it wrong. A Marlin Dark Series lever action.
Yeah.
That's my dream gun.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love Marlins, so
when I saw that thing, I must have, and I think the guy, and don't quote me, I think his name is Pewview. He is like crazy. He does like trick shots, and he, films his own stuff. And his stuff is more like fun content. Like, he's shooting and it's just nitty gritty, straight to the point. When I saw somebody else with one, and I was like, what is that? And I didn't catch it. And I saw him with it. I mean, I literally watched that thing about 30 times that night. I'm so interested in that firearm, and I don't own a lever action. So it's definitely going to be one that I need really soon.
Yeah, definitely recommend getting a lever action. I'm a bit of a FUD when it comes to my firearms that I like. Double barrel shotguns, lever actions, revolvers. In that sense, I'm a FUD. It's all right. It's just what I like. But the Marlins are amazing. And now that they're going to be made by Ruger, really piquing my interest again. So
so that is soon. And I saw one, didn't realize how rare they were. It was up on Gun Brokers. It was sold in like a day or two, and I literally was thinking like, let me see if I can find it cheaper, and I came back and it was gone. So talking to people, and I'm like, these are not readily accessible. Now I know if I see it again, I got to jump on it. So I ain't gonna miss the next one.
It will happen.
Right, because somebody better sell one.
All right. So last question that I have for you, and this is just one that I kind of thought of myself. What is one piece of advice that you'd give to the viewers out there, new firearms shooters, seasoned firearms owners, etc.?
The only fight in life that you're ever guaranteed to win is the one you avoid. Make no mistake about it. The more training you have could help save your life, because again, pulling out a gun, you can still be the one shot. Do not take lightly that just because you have a gun and you're willing to protect your home at all costs, that things cannot happen on the back end, whether medical or legal. I want people to understand there's a beginning, middle, and end to everything. So again, the only fight in life that you're ever guaranteed to win is the one you avoid. If you can, get out of the situation, do so with complete safety. If you can't, then pick your firearm up, do what you need to do. But in reality, it's a lot more than just clicking the trigger.
That's terrific. I think that's a good one to end on. I want to thank you for coming. But before I do that, is there anything that you'd like to plug? Any upcoming events? Any upcoming videos for your YouTube channel? Any upcoming posts for your Instagram? Anything at all that you want to plug? I'm going to make you full screen and you just talk until your heart's content. The floor is yours.
Not really anything I want to plug. I want to kind of leave it at, check out my Instagram posts. I have an event coming up on the 20th where I'll be a vendor. It's called the Am I Ready Women's Conference. Men are welcome as well. And I think that, just keep checking the website. We have new events, new classes coming, new things coming. And yeah, hopefully you guys check me out. You poke around a little bit on the website, on my social media. I like to respond back to people, have some jokes, have some laughs, talk some firearm safety. And yeah, just, hopefully you stop by. Hopefully I'll do more to my YouTube. I know it's not a lot going on there, but with everything so busy, I'm hoping to put more videos on there for you guys soon. So yeah, keep watching. And by the way, Gunsnbbq, I have no barbecue from you. So I'll be hoping to get some barbecue or something. Because if your name is Gunsnbbq, I'm going to need some barbecue.
We might be able to work something out.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard that. So we're going to keep tabs on if Gunsnbbq really going to give me some barbecue again. At least send me some sauce.
Sauce?
We got mumble sauce. We don't have like country style barbecue sauce. We have mumble sauce. That's like a DC thing.
Okay. I've never heard of it. I'm going to have to look into that more.
All right, so we'll swap.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool.
What kind of flavor profile do you like? Something spicy, sweet and hot, sweet?
Sweet. Not hot, not spicy, just more like sweet. I'm like an old school sweet, like molasses type of barbecue sauce type of girl.
Okay. So, all right. Well, with that, I want to thank you for coming on and doing this. Really appreciate it. This was an absolute blast, and
it was.
Like I say all the time, I could probably keep you here, another hour if I really wanted. But I know you ladies are really freaking busy, especially you. Holy cow! Again, like my goodness.
The little one, he's been peeking at the door, so I was like, if you keep here any longer, in a minute he's gonna come on here and start dancing and showing.
Oh, that's all right. I say I did one with was it Gun Girls ATL? I think it was, and I had my little one, and
I saw that.
Yeah, he was pretty much in it the whole time. But yeah. So again, thank you so much because you're doing amazing things and super busy. Gonna make a couple of my own plugs here, and we'll wrap her up. So first, I would like to thank Tamarack Armory. They are my LGS that I go to whenever I need a firearm, and they have recently become a channel sponsor, and they are a great group of guys over there. So if you are in need of a firearm, perhaps a Marlin Dark, then maybe get a hold of them and say, hey, I've been looking for this and I can't find it anywhere. Would you happen to be able to get your hands on it and get it shipped to me? And you never know, that you might get lucky. So there's the website, their email, and a Facebook link for them. So definitely go check them out, and then I'm going to roll the regular outro, and we will catch you all on the next episode.
We would like to say thank you to owlandanchor.com for great two-way items like these. Go to owlandanchor.com and place an order today. We'd also like to say thank you to gearwebsites.com. Yet another great two-way website. Go over to gearwebsites.com, pick up more great two-way items as you see here. And as always, please remember, I'm two-ayer than you. Dadgummit, Billy Bob, I told you to stay out of this. Now I don't remember what I was telling the people.